ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਪਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ ਸਾਦੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਫੌਜ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ when I was 19 ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ because they would say ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ so I think ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਡਰ ਵੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕੁੜੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਫੌਜ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਕੇ so ਸ਼ਾਇਦ this was also the reason
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਾ how did they get to know
ਮੈਂ 2 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਫੌਜ ਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਲੱਗ like it opened up a very different world for me ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੈਂਪਿੰਗ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਫੌਜ ਨਾਲ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਬੰਦੂਕ like ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਫੜਿਆ ਫੌਜ ਨਾਲ so both ਮੇਰੇ skills ਫੌਜ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਸੀ and so ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਗਈ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਓਥੈਰੇਪੀ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਸਟਰਸ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ and then I decided ਮੈਂ full time army ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਾ and then ਮੈਂ different challenges ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ so ਮੈਂ half marathon ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਫਿਰ full marathon and ਮੇਰੇ challenges they would get bigger and bigger ਕਈ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੂੰ ਫੌਜ ਨਹੀਂ join ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਉਹ same ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ you're not smart enough to get into university so I think part of it like was ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ
ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਵੀ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀ you have to
yeah not with my voice but with my actions ਹੈ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ
you were saying like you went to army reserve then after a couple of years you did your education you did masters and everything then you joined full time so for how long did you were in army
so 16 ਸਾਲ altogether so around about 7-8 ਸਾਲ part time and then 8 ਸਾਲ full time
ਇਸ period ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ expeditions are like were the mountains calling you or you were going to the mountains like what prompted you to do this is pretty extreme like south pole north pole ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਵੀ
ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਤਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ and that's what I wanted to show like how amazing would it be to go and do something I don't know anything about so मैं Google ਤੇ ਗਈ ਸੀ and ਮੈਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਸੀ how do you get to Antarctica so this for me this is the point ਨਾ like ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ but and ਤੁਹਾਡੀ like ਉਮੀਦ like wherever it is ਤੁਸੀਂ reach ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ and yes it will be hard ਔਖਾ ਹੋਣਾ like there will be challenges on the way but if you work hard like ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ
tell us the first time when you set foot on Antarctica ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ you think about okay this is how it's going to be this is how cold it could be oh there are going to be penguins there you know these kind of things like we already know there are a lot of scientists over there doing so many experiments over there when you set foot when you left England shores and like okay ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ Antarctica ਨੂੰ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ what were the emotions and what were the thinking behind although ਕੀ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ
although like both like nervous and excited because at that point training ਕਰ ਲਿਆ like 2 ਸਾਲ ਲੈ so I'm ready to go but also nervous because ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ because ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ expedition start ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਲੀ ਆ so I need to have everything ready if I forgot something ਮੈਂ like ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ shop ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਚੱਕ ਸਕਦੀ
you can't Amazon there
like ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ so then ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ Antarctica ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਈ like ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਈ ਸੀ and I came out ਬਹੁਤ ਹਵਾ ਸੀ so Antarctica is like the windiest continent so ਬਹੁਤ ਹਵਾ ਸੀ ਠੰਡ ਆਇਆ
driest and windiest
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ dry so and ਉੱਥੇ camp ਹੈਗਾ so I went to the camp ਉੱਥੇ like final checks for like a day ਫਿਰ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਗਿਆ and ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਤਾ like watching this ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਿਹਾ plane with skis on it leaving me and then like ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦੀ like 360 right ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਲੀ
ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ ਹੁਣ ਤੂੰ ਕੱਲੀ
ਆ ਕੱਲੀ ਆ ਬਸ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਇੱਕ sled ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ sled ਮੈਂ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੈਰ ਤੇ skis ਹੈਗੇ ਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ poles ski poles so ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ like 90 kilograms ਮੈਂ ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਟੈਂਟ ਮੇਰੀ cooking ਮੇਰੀ fuel ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਮੇਰੇ medical kit ਮੇਰਾ repair kit so ਜੇ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਸ ਹੈਗਾ and ਮੈਂ ਗਈ ਸੀ so ਪਹਿਲਾ ਹਫਤਾ like ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਤਾ like the ਧੁੱਪ ਬਾਹਰ ਸੀ and still like ਠੰਡ ਹੈਗਾ but ਇੰਨਾ ਠੰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ and it was okay I was like you're doing okay and then ਜਦੋਂ ਮੌਸਮ change ਹੁੰਦਾ the ਹਵਾ ਤੇ ਠੰਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਔਖਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ and for me I'll be honest physically it's hard mentally ਹੋਰ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ।
How many days ਪਹਿਲੇ expedition ਤੇ how many days you were in Antarctica?
40
ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ 40 days every time?
No, so 40 Billiwari. Second one was the hardest, the worst. So second trip 70 days, 922 miles.
ਉੱਥੇ ਰਾਤ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ? Or it
Yes.
was day?
No, good. Yeah, good question. So Antarctica, which November to January is summer, so 24 hours of daylight. But it's so Satwaja, like the sun was coming down, and then as I finished, it was almost kind of almost 24 hours daylight.
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਰੇਡੀਓ USA, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਟੀਵੀ USA ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਰਾਜਕਨਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਜਿਹੀ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਨੂੰ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਨਾਮਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਖੱਟਿਆ ਆ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਭੈਣ ਆ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਚਾਂਦੀ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਪੋਲਰ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਜਾਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਇਹ ਐਂਟਾਰਕਟਿਕਾ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ 3 ਵਾਰੀ ਐਕਸਪੀਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ। ਉਹ ਸਾਊਥ ਪੋਲ ਤੱਕ 3 ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਆ ਆਰਟਿਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾਰਥ ਪੋਲ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ। ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਇਹ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਡੇਢ ਮਹੀਨਾ 40 ਦਿਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਆਰਟਿਕ ਥਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ, ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਬਗੈਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਲਏ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ on her own she can go to north pole. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜੀਵਨ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ, what motivated her to do all these expeditions, ਅੱਜ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਚਾਂਦੀ ਜੀ, ਪੋਲਰ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜੀ, ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ।
So now we know you with Polar Preet.
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੰਮੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋ, then we'll go to Polar Preet.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਸੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ, ਪਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ ਸੱਦਦੇ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ। ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਤੋਂ ਆਈ। ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਸ I've got 2 older brothers ਇੱਥੇ, and I think pretty normal family ਇੱਥੇ, competitive with my 2 older brothers, and ਮੈਂ ਫੌਜ join ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ when I was 19. And
UK Army, you joined UK Army?
Hanji, UK Army, yeah.
Was it right after high school or college?
So college. ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ family ਵਿੱਚ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ
Why?
Because they would say ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ। So I think ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਡਰ ਵੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕੁੜੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ, ਫੌਜ join ਕਰਕੇ। So ਸ਼ਾਇਦ this was also the reason.
What year you joined?
I joined, so 19, I have to think now.
Like 20 years ago?
2008.
2008.
Anji,
okay.
Anji,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, so you didn't tell nobody. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਾ? How did they get to know about it?
ਮੈਂ 2 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ। So ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ part time army join ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, so like army reserve, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਗਈ ਸੀ full time army, and ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ like ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, like ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਈ family ਠੀਕ ਸੀ, ਦੂਸਰੇ like members or like ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, and ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ, so I stayed in because ਫੌਜ ਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਲੱਗ ਸੀ, like it opened up a very different world for me. ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੈਂਪਿੰਗ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਫੌਜ ਨਾਲ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਬੰਦੂਕ like ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਫੜਿਆ ਫੌਜ ਨਾਲ, so ਬਹੁਤ ਮੇਰੇ skills ਫੌਜ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਸੀ। And so ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਗਈ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਓਥੈਰੇਪੀ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਸਟਰਸ ਕਰ ਲਏ, and then I decided ਮੈਂ full time army ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਾ, and then ਮੈਂ different challenges ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ, so ਮੈਂ half marathon ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਫਿਰ full marathon, and ਮੇਰੇ challenges they would get bigger and bigger, and
so it has been in you to challenge yourself, do the next thing.
Yeah, for a while, ਹਾਂਜੀ, because ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ like ਕਈ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੂੰ ਫੌਜ ਨਹੀਂ join ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ, ਉਹ same ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ you're not smart enough to get into university, so I think part of it like was ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ, ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦਿਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ,
ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਵੀ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ, you have to
yeah I want to show, and ਮੈਂ not with my voice but with my actions, है ना? मैं
Yeah,
दिखाना
obviously,
चाहती
yeah.
थी मैं ये
Yeah.
कर सकती मैं और मैं होर की कर सकती, and I think the more we do, the more we realize we're capable of. So ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ, I was like, oh, मैं, you know, शायद मैं थोड़ा बड़ा चीज भी कर सकती, and then this is what happened. They were getting bigger
Achieve
and bigger.
higher and bigger things, you know,
Handy.
like that. So, were you the first Punjabi or Sikh girl in the UK Army at that time? Or ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੇ?
No, I don't think I was the first, because when I was in, मैं ਉੱਥੇ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀ like दूसरे Punjabi Sikh ਕੁੜੀਆਂ.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm trying to think. So yeah, I remember from India, and then from the UK, I don't think Bilisi. I think there would have been a couple, but in you know, not many. There's not many of us because
few of them.
Hanji, like even in the defense Sikh like community we had in the military, there wasn't that many. There wasn't that many of us for sure.
Okay, like why do you think was such a taboo apne culture de vich be girls can't join army or something?
I think if I think like personally, I think it's different things. Kei wari dar lagda na log, I think the education part, log nu pata nahi, like you can be in the medical services, like engineers. There's so many different areas. People sort of their forge is like dangerous straight away.
And
you know,
war, they're directly associated with war.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think, but I'll be honest, Dusa, I think partly a little bit of control as well. That you know, because if you're low-key, like, you know, what you're going off and doing things, and there's this treatment like is different. Kuriya the Monday, like, you know, Monday kar sakti, but Kuriya nahi. So I do think there is a little bit of that as well. So the fear, you know, not really knowing, and then that control as well, because but for me it opened up so much. It opened up
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਕਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ were mostly men who ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਕਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, like how about women in your family, were they supporting or were they also
so so personally no, it was mainly the men that rokde si, and the women, like the people who I cared about, weren't skeptical, but the Mundiada, they had the louder voice, so then there's that control element, you know. So yeah, from the female side it was more just not really, you know, like, yeah, not really saying much, to be honest. I think allowing me to do things like mini mummy now, like my mum had an arranged marriage at 17, and I think my mum, like I'm her only daughter, just wanted me to choose who I married. That was like my mum's height for me, you know. She just wants me to be happy. So I think now she looks and she's like, wow, you know, the different things that I was able to do. But you have to look back, because like if I look back at many nanny, many mummy, like did it opportunities Mirilisi, like they would never have had those opportunities.
Oh yeah.
So yes,
100%.
I've had to break boundaries, but you know, not like the ones that they had to break. So hopefully meri hope, meri umeed is that you know, like the next generation, it becomes more normal. Like I love that my niece can see me doing this, and it's normal, you know. Preeti Pua has gone to the South Pole. Preeti Pua koshish kardi North Pole janu. Mini nephew is 4 years old, and he's like, Preeti Pua, can we go to North Pole now? Can we go to North Pole now? I love that it's normal.
Yeah. No, you're right, Preet, like ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ opportunities ਹੋਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੌਕੇ ਹੋਣਾ ਉਹ ਉਦੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੇ, and people like to live vicariously through others, like lot of parents, they live through their kids. ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਉਹ ਆਪ which they can't achieve in their own life, they want to see their kids excel in that, and that makes them happy as well. I was recently on a career day, one of the doctors, a Sikh lady, when she was saying like the day she put on the white coat, her dad was like, "Mummy, hun doctor ban gaya," hai na? Like it's that thing, it's that touch, you know. We apne hunda hi hai sariyan cheezaं, and as an immigrant family, when your parents all they have to do is just work so they can establish themselves. Then they see their kids do this kind of stuff. Were you like outgoing camping stuff when you were like before army? Like ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਦੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ?
No, I see, but you know, it's I see camping and like hiking. I see kade nahi, but nobody did it. Like in the community, koi nahi si karda, or we couldn't see anybody doing. So if normal nahi, it's not normal to go out camping. Jado meri it's Panji, hai na niece. Meri
Yes.
Panji ਅਸੀਂ camping ਗਈ ਸੀ ਬਸ ਮੰਮੀ ਦੇ garden ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ 4 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਸੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ oh my god is she going to be okay don't lock her in the tent ਸਾਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਲੱਗਦਾ because it's different ਹੈਗਾ and every time ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਦੇ that's a little bit different everybody questions that so for me Billy when ਮੈਂ ਗਈ ਸੀ I was 19 with the army Fordwich whereas Simran my niece like she came up 4 years old which is huge so for me it's about pushing boundaries.
No, that's awesome. That's great. ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ, as you were saying, like you went to Army Reserve, then after a couple of years you did your education, you did masters and everything, then you joined full time. So for how long did you were in Army?
So 16 saal altogether. So around about 7-8 saal part time and then 8 saal full time.
Oh, okay. Like ਇਸ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ expeditions are like that's were the mountains calling you or you were going to the mountains like what prompted you to do this is pretty extreme like South Pole North Pole ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ ਵੀ
so Fordwich ਮੈਂ like ਗਈ ਸੀ Nepal Kenya South Sudan ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ boss ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ because these things to do like the adventures I was doing outside the army in my spare time and I was looking for something my next he kar sakti and unne kya oh maybe Antarctica and I was like no mainu nahi kuch pata Antarctica de bare so main nahi inda kuch kar sakti and I think this thought mere sar vich reha si for 1 saal शांत Antarctica में जा सकती and मैं जाना चाहती सी क्योंकि मैंने कुछ नहीं सी पता उधर बार and that's what I wanted to show like how amazing would it be to go and do something I don't know anything about so मैं Google ते गई सी and मैं लिखा सी how do you get to Antarctica so this for me this is the point ना like to see कितने भी शुरू कर सकते but and thwadi like umeed like wherever it is to see reach kar sakte and yes it will be hard akka hona ya like there will be challenges on the way but if you work hard like to see kar sakte
so what did you find jado pehli Google search kiti sigi and like what do you thought about it
so after I Google search cruise both on this like cruises holiday cruises
okay
so ਉਹ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ logistics company ਲੱਭਿਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ logistics company ਨੇ ਨਾ they are the people ਉਹ ਛੱਡੂਗੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਤੇ Antarctica ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਵਾਪਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਗੇ so ਫਿਰ I contacted them and having conversations because ਪੈਸੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ
What was the amount you think it was? Like,
that's exactly so. First trip about in total probably $100,000 US. The second trip was well over $200,000 US because I was going further, and then third trip was about I think again $100K US, including $100,000 US, including everything. And the biggest cost is logistics.
When did you do the first expedition while being in the army or after you had done?
No so while I was in the army and then afterwards I applied to take unpaid leave so Fordwich Sea and then I took leave to do the trips
how did you manage to get together this amount of money like it's a huge task
100% both Okasi it was one of so like for the first year and a half my company like online just finding companies would email online most people wouldn't respond and they'll respond if they say sorry it's not for us and then minu 1.5 saal lag gaya si before the first company came on board and then my trip karke I was in 50,000 it was like pounds so what's that I don't know like $70,000 US I was in debt after the first trip it was like the risk was huge and like so many times I saw CPT to pagal because I was in but I went from the National Health Service in the UK to the British Army, which are financially stable jobs, which I chose for a reason. And I think even from my background, like financial security, it was drilled in how important it had. So I just, like, part of me is like, what am I doing? You know, and I think honestly, it like there's this fire ag haga Mirovich, like something burning so much to say that this means something. Now, like this is so much bigger than you, Britti. This is to be, and I was the first woman of color to reach the South Pole solo, the first Punjabi person, Munda Jakuri,
Ever.
the first, to do it solo. So it just, you know, it's so big, and that was the reason I pushed, not because it was so hard in that Okasina, like scale, like so many times I wanted to give up because it was so hard.
Yeah, walk us through your journey. Like, tell us, like the first time, then we'll talk about the third time, then we'll talk about the North Pole thing. Like, tell us the first time when you set foot on Antarctica. ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ, you think about, okay, this is how it's going to be, this is how cold it could be, oh, there are going to be penguins there, you know, these kind of things. Like, we already know there are a lot of scientists over there doing so many experiments over there. When you set foot, when you left England shores and like, okay, ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ Antarctica ਨੂੰ ਚੱਲੀ ਆਂ, what were the emotions and what was the thinking behind? Although ਕੀ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ?
Although like both like nervous and excited, because at that point training ਕਰ ਲਿਆ like 2 ਸਾਲ ਹੈ, so I'm ready to go na, but also nervous because ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ, because ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ expedition start ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਲੀ ਆ, so I need to have everything ready. You know, if I forgot something, मैं like उत्थे कोई shop नहीं हैगा, मैं कुछ ਚੱਕ ਸਕਦੀ,
you can Amazon there.
like ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. So then, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ Antarctica ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਈ, like, you know, ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਈ ਸੀ, and I came out, ਬਹੁਤ ਹਵਾ ਸੀ. So Antarctica is like the windiest continent. So ਬਹੁਤ ਹਵਾ ਸੀ, ਠੰਡਾ ਆ.
Driest and windiest.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ dry. So, and ਉੱਥੇ camp ਹੈਗਾ. So I went to the camp, ਉੱਥੇ like final checks for like a day. ਫਿਰ ਜਹਾਜ਼, ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਗਿਆ. And ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਤਾ like watching this ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਿਹਾ plane with skis on it leaving me, and then like ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦੀ like 360, right, ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਲੀ
ਹੁਣ ਤੂੰ ਕੱਲੀ ਆ.
ਕੱਲੀ ਆ. ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ, so ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਇੱਕ sled ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ sled ਮੈਂ ਖਿੱਚਦੀ ਆ, ਮੇਰੇ ਪੈਰ ਤੇ skis ਹੈਗੇ, ਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਵਿੱਚ poles, ski poles. So ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ like 90 kilograms, ਮੈਂ ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੇਰੇ tent, ਮੇਰੀ cooking, ਮੇਰੀ fuel, ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਖਾਣਾ, ਮੇਰੇ medical kit, ਮੇਰਾ repair kit. So ਜੇ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਸ ਹੈਗਾ. And ਮੈਂ ਗਈ ਸੀ, so ਪਹਿਲਾ ਹਫਤਾ like ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਤਾ like the ਧੁੱਪ ਬਾਹਰ ਸੀ, and still like ਠੰਡ ਹੈਗਾ, but ਇੰਨਾ ਠੰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, and it was okay. I was like, you're doing okay. And then ਜਦੋਂ ਮੌਸਮ change ਹੁੰਦਾ, the ਹਵਾ ਤਾਂ ਠੰਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਔਖਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. And for me, I'll be honest, physically it's hard. Mentally, ਹੋਰ ਕੁਛ ਹੈਗਾ. Like, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ time ਇਕੱਲੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, like Danwich or, you know, weekend or ever, really, like Gadwich, Barjake, like you see people, you're always around people. So this was the first time in my life I spent more than a day alone. And middle-year, honestly, when it got hard, I carried more like anger with me, like this anger about the people who made it so much harder for me to get to that start line. And I didn't realize until I was on the ice, barf there, that I was carrying that with me. And all night just made my sled heavier. It was hard work to try and have those emotions with me. And I have to keep reminding myself, Preeti, like, to see I didn't come out.
What are you going to achieve?
Yeah. Like, why are you here? I see because I want to push boundaries. I want to inspire people to push boundaries. मैं इस करके नहीं आई to show those people ना, देख मैं उनकी कर सकती है, because it's not the right reasons. And I'll be honest, sometimes you can use it as fuel, maybe at the start, but not long term.
So, man, did you overpack first time?
Yes, yeah. It's hard because I try to be very strict now. My toothbrush, I cut my toothbrush in half.
Okay.
Yeah, like I so strict now. The labels from my clothing, I cut them out like savkush, but there were still a couple of bits I had with me that probably I didn't need. But
Did you talk to other ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ expeditions ਪਹਿਲੋਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
so you had obviously ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਣਾ ਬੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈ ਉੱਥੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ yeah ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਿੰਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਣਾ you know like how would you know what it's like ki leke jana na so I created Polar Preet online and asked anybody like you know ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ like you know ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿੰਦਾ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ like anybody who was happy to help I would ask for help from.
Tell me more about those emotions like which made your sledge heavy like what was the reason like were you carrying it for many years like you think
I think so I think but ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਸੀ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ you can use it Preeti na like this fuel and to show and prove people wrong but I realize in the long term it's not a very healthy way to be
so you let it go ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੇ ਛੱਡ ਆਏ ਹੋ ਸਾਰੇ emotions
yeah well I think the first time it was hard so I would say ਮੈਂ retrain ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ so I was trying to think like really small like ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ saw like I'd count to 100 over and over again ik do then so probably trying to distract myself and then I would try to remind myself my QIC in the first place. Meri sled na it said Simran on the side, so Simran and Meri Nasi, Banji Meri Nasi. Like I was thinking, you know, my QIC, what like why have I come here? But I don't think it left me because then on the second trip it was still there, and it was very very hard. I think after the second trip, I was thinking, okay, I need to change something because it isn't helping me at all, and I did something which. Probably in our community isn't accepted that much, but you know, I tried to put firmer boundaries in place to people, and actually that did help me because you know I needed to put those in place. And I think as much as I don't know how to say this in Punjabi, so I need to practice it, but you know, as much as we say not everybody wants to see you succeed, and it's harsh to say, but they don't. And I think the more you let these people in your life, like sometimes they can really drag you down. And that's hard.
And usually those are the closest persons to you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's challenging, but you know, it's funny how our brains, we can sometimes focus on that person. And then you look back and I'm like, Preeti, look at the amount of people who after my first trip, you know, that in the news it said first woman of color to do solo expedition in Antarctica, and gay log embassy, you know, why does it matter? Why it doesn't matter the color of her skin, you know, why it's not important. And then I would go into rooms with you know, our community, and I didn't have to explain why it mattered because they all knew. You know, I didn't have to explain myself at all about why this is so powerful as a Punjabi Gudi, and that
doing
you know,
this
and
as you mentioned, like it's like breaking barriers, you know, shattering that glass ceiling, you know, it's amazing, and I congratulate you, I envy you. Wish we could do all these kind of things
I don't next time.
yeah. Hopefully I have to train for 2 more years now before we do that. Like ਜਦੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਦੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਵੀ you were in debt after this expedition. Did any community members or anybody help you?
From the community, no.
Did you ask for the help though?
No, probably not. Not from the. And I'll be honest, I didn't think that it was an option. You know, I spent so much time away. So my parents divorced when I was about 10, and I remember people not being very nice to my mum. And I think that made me step away a little bit from this community that hadn't been, you know, nobody actually really stood by her at that time. So I think it was when I joined the army, and I remember joining the Defence Sikh network, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get more people who are just saying, you're not Punjabi enough, you're not, you know, but they were amazing, this amazing group of people. And I think as I've gotten older, I realized more and more that actually not everybody is like that, you know, like with so many communities, and there are so many people that are supportive, and I am one of them. It's part of me completely, you know, like, so I think I didn't even probably think to approach, if I'm honest with you, before my first trip. And after coming back, it was probably quite challenging as well, because I went straight back into work, and then I managed to get the money back. And because it was in the media, I managed to get enough money to do my second trip, my second expedition. And yes, for the last trip, I went to the community probably more than I have ever before. And people tried to help, but I think me trying to explain, one, what I'm doing, I think there's that as well. You know, a lot of people don't understand North Pole. Everyone has heard of Mount Everest, but now North Pole is probably one of the hardest adventures out there, I would say. You know,
harder than Antarctica.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
How many days? Pehle expedition. How many days you were in Antarctica?
40, Charlie.
How many 40 days every time?
No. So 40. The second one was the hardest, the worst. So second trip, 70 days, 922 miles. And
solo.
Yeah, but I didn't reach where I wanted to. So they see to cross the landmass in Antarctica over 1,000 miles. And because the season finished, the company, they picked me up. And that trip almost broke me. Like, I don't think I've ever heard in my life that it's okay to fail. You know, like, it's not something we're ever told that, you know, TK I like to fail. But I'm really glad, like, it's one of the best failures I've had in my life. You know, very hard, but I learned more from that failure than I have any.
When you see you can see that pole right there. Yeah, ho challa, and you had to get out of there. Like, it's hard. But tell us about your mental strength too. It's okay to say no, and when you have to come back.
Yeah. So the second trip, I think the reason now that we have other people in place to pull us out is because my mental state isn't in the best place. You're spending so much time alone. You're going, you just have that almost summit fever. You want to get to the end. That I'm probably not the best person, because I'd probably try and keep going. So it then becomes somebody else's decision that I have to. And we make those decisions beforehand. But the second trip absolutely broke me. I would say I'm quite a mentally resilient person. You know, I always think I can keep going and do a bit more. The second trip, I lost 20 kilograms of fat and muscle. I had injuries like anything. And it's the first time in my life I thought, I don't know if I can keep going, when I was like even a week from where they picked me up. And that was, mentally like the worst place I've been in. And this little voice in my head telling me that I failed over and over again. Just talking at me, and it was very hard to escape from that. And I don't have, no internet, nothing. So like, it's just for me on the satellite phone, the MT Kagi, and I would do voicemails to this company, and then that's how people could hear my voice, and my family would type it on my social media. So I can't see what everybody's saying.
Did the Sikhi concept of Chardi help you through this?
So I would, on every single trip, when I'm scared, I say, Waheguru Ka Khasa, Waheguru Ki Fateh, every single time. And I've been doing that since I was a kid, without even thinking about it. And it's just something that I like that every single time. But yeah, I think even just from a meditative point of view as well, I'd say it in a rhythm, Waheguru Ka Khasa, Waheguru Ki Fateh, Waheguru Ka Khasa, like slower and then quicker, every single time. On my first trip, so the sun in Antarctica can have this like halo effect around it. And my Babaji raised me, and he, passed away. Like, he lived a long life, but I think I was hallucinating a bit because I was very sleep deprived, and I saw these people. It looked like people coming out of the sun. And I remember saying, Babaji, like, there. And I could see people coming out of the ground, and I would stick my ski pole out because I thought they're going to like suck me into the ground.
Oh, wow.
They didn't. It was just, it was me hallucinating because I was very, very sleep deprived. But yes, I think 100%. And people say it to me now as well, like, Chardi Kala, like, make sure you do Gurbani when you're out there. My mum will remind me, make sure you do bad when you're on the ice. So I do more and more now when I'm out there. And I have, I'm learning more and more as I go, and I feel so much closer to Sikhi now after spending quite a lot of time alone than I did before doing these trips. And I think about the meanings of stuff as well, like in good about like nidvo nidver, that without the fear. I was scared in Antarctica, but nothing like in the Arctic. Like I have never been so terrified in my life, in my entire life, when the bears were there. And I think to myself, it's okay, like dal ta lagda haiga, but ida matlab nahi tusi fir nahi koshish kar sakte. Main kardi a, but dar de naal. And then for me, without fear, without hate, is for me not carrying the hate, like which I think I was. That anger, I think it was hate inside me, and that doesn't help me, so it's making my sled heavier, it's making the journey harder, and I don't have to carry that with me. So I it 100%, it's part of who I am, and it goes deeper. Like I'm not just going the Carnival, I'm going to go South Pole, North Pole, like as a holiday or show, but
it is not.
ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਆ, like it's ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਦੀ ਆ, like ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਲੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਿੱਛੇ, like invisible, but ਸਾਰੇ like they're lifting me up behind me, because like they know, like this huge community knows that this is not just me getting there, it feels like they're with me, they are there with me as well.
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਪੋਲਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਫਾਊਂਡਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ, he did 26,000 miles, ਲਾਈਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਦਾਸੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ। ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰ ਹੈਗੀ, ਬਟ ਹੁਣ ਕਨਵੈਨਸ਼ਨਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ। ਲਾਈਕ we'll talk about the technical stuff too, Antarctica, Arctic ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਆ, and what's the next steps for you. ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰਸ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਐਕਸਪੀਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਦਾਸੀਆਂ, ਟਰੈਕਿੰਗ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹਾਈਕਿੰਗ, ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ, ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਰ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਿਆ, what do you want to tell ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ, ਬਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਾਲ?
Just that, like, I don't understand. Sometimes there's this division that munde kar sakte, but kuriya nahi kar sakte. I mean, it was Guru Nanak that said that, why do like kuriya, like women are just so and this adventure, I mean, it's within us, and it's so like ida matlab nahi like it has to be the biggest thing. Kuch nahi ho sakta, bahar chal ke like on your pavement tusi shop to like that's meant like tar ke chalo, it's so good for your mental health. It is it's so powerful for your mental health. And like I think we tell young people all the time, tusi karo, but after a certain age, oh no, it's not for us. At what point do we stop doing that? So my mum is 60 this year, and I'm always trying to get her to do more and more. And like it's hard because she didn't do it for years, as when she was younger, decades, or as a young adult. It's completely new. But ida matlab nahi tusi nahi try, tusi nahi koshish kar sakte. And I'm so proud of her when I see her like trying to do a little bit more and trying to do a little bit more. So I get it. I understand that, thwanu dar lagda. Minu hi dar lagda, mummy nu hi dar lagda, but tusi koshish to karo, because I think it gives you so much, like thodi mental health le bahut changa hunda, that it's adventure is within us, and it can be anything. And also if you tusi kar sakte, like it also shows those around you, like one person goes and another person can go and join in as well, so it's not just you.
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ। ਅੱਛਾ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਲ ਸਟੱਫ ਹੁਣ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਂਟਾਰਕਟਿਕਾ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਹਿਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਇੱਕ ਲੈਂਡ ਮਾਸ ਜੁੜਿਆ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਰਫ਼ ਆ। then you trying to do Arctic, it's a moving mass, ਕਦੀ ਬਰਫ਼ ਦਾ ਟੁਕੜਾ ਇੱਧਰ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ, ਕਦੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਪੇਅਰ ਕੀਤਾ?
so ਜਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ, so Antarctica continent ਹੈਗਾ, so ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਤੇ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਤੇ ਥੱਲੇ, like ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਹੈਗਾ, and South Pole,
Yeah.
ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੈਗਾ North Pole, ਉਹ ਬਰਫ਼
Mm.
ਤੇ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ ਹੈਗਾ। So
Yeah.
so 500 ਮੀਲ ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। So
Okay.
ਇਸ
500
ਕਰਕੇ
miles, no land.
yes, yeah, around it. So ਇਸ
Hmm.
ਕਰਕੇ it is so much harder to get there because what can land there? Oh, barf, it is thin as well. That the ice is
Okay.
getting thinner and thinner. So ਉੱਥੇ and polar bears ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਪਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ you know it is ਪਾਣੀ like so ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨਾ like ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ to get the jahaj to drop me off to the start line, to the edge of the land. And Antarctica ਵਿੱਚ logistics companies ਹੈਗੇ, so ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ and they have the contract with the planes. ਕੋਈ equivalent ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ Arctic ਵਿੱਚ. So I would have to charter the plane myself. So you know ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, so ਇਹ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਕੱਲੀ ਹੋਊਂਗੀ ਉੱਥੇ like sea ice there. So ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ like bad if it's moving. So ਮੈਂ ਮੋੜੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੀ, ਫਿਰ ਸੌ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਮੈਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਾਊਂਗੀ।
That ice just drifts away.
Yeah. Or ਥੱਲੇ it breaks underneath and it could be water. So ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ so ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਸ immersion suit ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ and it's buoyant, it floats in the water. ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ I will swim to get out wherever I can and then drag my sleds which float after. It is so much harder.
So much harder.
Like koi नहीं गई solo to the North Pole. Kissing it like the last time.
Forget about color.
Yeah,
women of color. Forget about women of color. No woman has done that.
Yeah. So Jimmy Banshki, I'd be the first person of color. You know, Mundi like first Punjabi, first person of color. Like it is a different world. Even now, so
Esma, did you try to go to the North Pole and what happened? Why were you not able to do that?
So several reasons. So first, I couldn't get the money to pay the plane to get to the start line.
Oh wow!
And without
how much short were you? Like
loads. I was short by like over $150,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot. But this is where I probably am a little bit crazy. I thought I'm going to, you know, in January, I came to Canada with everything. I'm doing the training, trying to get the money on the way before even getting to the start line, hoping that I could get. But even if I got to the start line, that money, there's no pickup. I would still need to find somebody to pick me up from the sea. At that point, there's nobody to pick me up. So that wouldn't have included, you know, that pickup. That would only have got me to the start line. So it is, like I said, I think one of the hardest things to try. But
maybe we need to pitch this idea to Netflix or Discovery or something so they can fund it.
You know what's funny? Like with everything, it's everybody loves a success story.
Yes.
Like the start, the struggle, a lot of people don't want to take the risk. And there is risk. There's always risk. You know, to get the reward, there is going to be the risk. And a lot of people don't want to take that risk. And it's hard to find that. It's hard. And, you know, I did get some sponsors on board who are great, but it's a lot of money. It's you know, and there's a huge...
For this expedition to be successful, what's the ballpark you're looking at? What's the amount you would need to do that successful?
So the crazy thing is, I don't actually know. But so it could be $300,000 US, it could be $1 million. And the reason I don't know is because of the pickup. I do not. So there used to be a North Pole station up there, and they are run by the Russians. And they would open up like an ice station for a couple of weeks of the year. And the logistics would go through them. So, you know, they have the runway for planes to land and things, but they haven't opened in, I think, like 8-9 years now. So without them, you know, at the moment, there's nobody. So you would have to find a plane and then charter that plane plus the pilots. If they came back in, it then becomes cheaper. But the last how many years they haven't opened. So the ballpark is so huge that you'd need a lot just in case.
So what did you do for to see Charlie then? So basically it became an adaptation.
Yes. So I basically went as far north as I could. So I thought, okay,
What was the
and
what's that point? कित्थे तक पहुंचे, if you have
so
to tell us.
yeah, 100%. So I was in a place called Resolute Bay. So
Mhm.
utto my कोशिश करती थी. So the plane I wanted to get would be another 4 hours north. So that's what
Okay.
I wanted to go, 4 hours north. And because I didn't, I went round one of the other islands there. So to explain Resolute Bay, it's one of the last communities that far north, population of 180. So as soon as there's like utte ek hotel hega, as soon as I leave the hotel, bas barf hega, like around there, kuch nahi holi kuch.
Mhm.
So once I start my trip, there's still nobody around. And there are a lot of polar bears there,
Oh
like
wow.
populated. So I knew that there'd be polar bears around. And then I still on sea ice on Barf de Samandar, but I was not too far from land. Do you mean they're
Mhm.
like I'm not too far from land? And I did 40 days around this island, and I saw 3 polar bears. But my worst encounter was the second time. So mere paas I've got a banduk, a pencil flare, which is like a small flare that I can flick, and a flare comes, and then I have a polar bear fence around my tent.
What's
But
that fence? Is it electric or what
no,
it
no,
is?
it's just a pen flare. So pen flare, bamboo stick, self-made, safety pin. So if it comes, it would.
Every time you have ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਣਾ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਸੌਣਾ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਰਾਤ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ or it was
Yes.
day
No,
it
good.
was
Yeah, good question. So Antarctica, which November to January is summer, so 24 hours of daylight. But it's so Satwaja, like the sun was coming down, and then as I finished, it was almost kind of almost 24 hours daylight.
okay.
Yeah.
So usually ਕਿਹੜਾ season ਕਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ expedition
So
ਦੇ ਲਈ?
Antarctic season, November to January.
Mhm.
Arctic season, kind of, well, depending on how far north you go, February is quite hard, like February, March, April.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now this year ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. So when are you
It's all good.
planning next? Like you want to take a year, couple of years to get
I
ready,
think
or what's your goal now?
I still want to try, Hannah. I think it's something, but what I will say is it became an obsession, which I'm
Mhm.
not upset about, because I think you need to be obsessed to do something that is so big, but I spent I put all of my energy, like the sponsorship, into that. So now I'm just trying to like get my energy at a normal level. And I think, maybe not next year, but the year after, like I want to try. And if I fail, I fail, but you can't fail unless you try. So I
Yeah.
think try anyway.
Yeah. ਇਸ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਖਰਚਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ?
This time it was about, in pounds, I think about 50K.
Okay. Okay. How far, like how many miles were you, like ਕਿੰਨਾ ਦੂਰ ਸੀਗਾ North Pole ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ Resolute Bay ਤੋਂ?
In miles?
In miles, or like I don't know, like how do you
No, yeah.
calculate
So
it,
yes,
measure
no,
it?
you can. So in degrees north. So the North Pole is 90 degrees north.
Mhm.
Where I want to start my trip is 83 degrees north. And then Resolute Bay, I just want to double check
Sure.
latitude, because I can't remember off the top of my head, is 70. So 74. I think 76 degrees north is the furthest I went north. So
Okay.
each degree, so 74, that's almost 9 degrees away from my start line, and each degree is 70 miles. So I'm like 600 miles, just over 600 miles away from where I wanted to start.
Okay. Just starting to only do
Yes, to start, Hanji.
if you get to the exact starting position you want to, like
Hanji.
फिर कितना time लगूगा?
So I only have a certain amount of time. So I think I wouldn't have more than 60 days, because the ice becomes too thin. And then there'll be nobody to pick you up.
Okay. And when was the last successful expedition to North Pole?
So from Russia, we actually had Borgate Usland and Mike Horn, who are 2 amazing explorers who did a winter trip, which was, like extreme. Like Borgate Usland is like one of the world's like best explorers. He was the first person to ski to the South and the North Poles. And that was, I want to say, about 7 years ago now. From Canada, the last expedition to go with, to have the logistics to go was 13 years ago.
That was the solo one?
No. So they're both as 2 people.
Two
So
people.
yeah, so successfully.
Why don't you try with 2 people?
You could try with 2 people for sure. I think, having got to the
Have
South
you
Coast,
thought about teaming up with someone?
yeah, for sure, but it has to be somebody who, is also a little bit crazy and is happy to try regardless as well. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I 100% could.
You need to find another polar.
Yeah. But no, for sure, because people have said, because this is a different level of hard trying to go there.
Can you tell us about day to day of your expedition this time about in the Arctic?
Hanji. Yeah. So Swere Utke, I would put my stove on. So I cook inside the porch because in that hand, it was about -40 at the coldest, I would say, degrees on this trip. So it's an open flame. I put my pot on there, and then I cut up blocks of snow, and I put the snow in there, and I'd have my breakfast. So I boil the water, I put it in my little mug, stir it, and then I'll have that food and maybe a hot chocolate. And then I pack everything away. Once I turn my stove off, it gets cold very quickly. So pack everything away, and then put it into my sled, put everything away, and then have my big jacket on, take that off, and then I start skiing. So I'm either on skis or snowshoes because it's not just smooth ice, because the sea ice moves. Sometimes there's like these big blocks and you're having to climb over, drag the sled over the big blocks of ice. So sometimes you weren't moving far. I think I was averaging like 7-8 miles a day, or actually nautical, so probably like 8-9 miles a day. It was hard moving through. And then I'd finish my day before probably about 6:30. Sun was going down about 7. Yeah, about 6-7. So I would then put my tent up, put everything inside my tent that I need, put my polar bear fence up, get inside the tent, get all any snow that's built up, and then again put my stove on, warm up my satellite phone so that I'd call my husband to tell him I'm safe and check in with him. And I would then do the same, boil water, have my dinner, and then I then bring my sleeping bag inside afterwards, because I don't bring my sleeping bag inside while I have the open flame there. So I turn it on, and so it's all frosty and cold. I have these water bottles that I'd put hot water in, so I'd hug them, one to go to sleep and the other one I put by my feet. And then I'm like in the sleeping bag completely. And then by the time I wake up, there's like frost everywhere. So I have to brush it off with like a brush before starting the day again.
Like a tent launa, karna, katna. This is like hours of work, looks like.
Oh, yeah, it is. So even though, because you're moving, I was moving, like 8-9 hours in the Arctic, but there's way more work. You have to put the tent up, you have to melt snow. Like, it's not just, after skiing, you're finished. You have to do the same in the morning. Yeah, both kam hai out there. You're not really ever resting. Even Rathwich, because you can hear, is that polar bear? Like, is that the ice or snow moving? So, yeah.
Wow. Polar bear ਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੂਰੋਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਲਾਗਿਓਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ? How?
The closest one, so one ripped my tent. So it was midnight, and polar bear came to the front of my tent, ripped the front of my tent. So the bear fence can be a little bit temperamental, so it didn't go off. It was really windy that day, so I didn't hear it. Ripped my front of my tent, then it's come to the side, made another rip, and then I saw it, and it stepped back a little bit, so very close. Like, I opened the front door, it was like there. So I had my pencil flare because it was there, and I shot my pencil flare, and then it went a little bit, but it's not running away. It's like, kind of jogging slowly. So then I shot another one and it left, and I watched it until I was thinking, because it was like this midnight sun, you could still see it wasn't like dark night. And I thought about my phone, and I was like just watching it. My hands wouldn't move. I was like, no way am I getting something out to record. Because I was terrified. So
what day in the expedition was this? Like, like, was in the middle of the expedition?
Yeah, it was middle. It was middle, like it was the second half for sure. Yeah.
Did you think we chal hun chaliye Preet wapas chaliye, like
honestly,
polar bear?
Like, at that point I was like, no, many guys exactly, like it's midnight, and I just, so then I made this big rip at the front of the tent. I'm like, that, yeah. So then I was like, I can't fix it now, like in that hand. So I tried to put it together, and I put one of my food bags at the bottom so that it's not like flying apart. And then swere utke, like first thing, like 6 a.m. Like I didn't sleep, obviously, very much. I cut up one of my bags, like the food liner bag. I got dental floss and a needle, and I started sewing it up. And it took me most of the day to do that.
Wow. Being an army officer helped you with this? Like,
yes, because when I am in situations that are hard, I try not to panic, and I think try to think logical first. And even though you're scared or any of that, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? You know, I wanted to cry. I didn't cry because I'm like, I need to do this. And then, you know, I have to get this together. Like, there's no messing around at that point. You have to do what you need to do.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਵੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੈ, right?
Hanji, yes, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's called An Explorer's Guide to Going Wild, and you know, hopefully it's for young people to try and get outside and do their own adventures as well. And I talk about my adventures too, and I'm hoping to write an adult's book as well. And you know, just some of these messages, not just my stories, but like, you know, how everybody else can and do it, and also what's going on in the brain when we're in these situations, and how you can learn. Like it's a skill to learn not to panic in those situations. And how to try and stay calm under pressure. It's from stepping out of your comfort zone and other things that I've done.
Antarctica ਦਾ ਸੋਚ ਕੇ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਸੌਖਾ ਹੀ ਬੜਾ, ਹੁਣ ਇਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਰਟਿਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ like
honestly, like ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੰਦੇ, like Antarctica is much easier than yeah, my trips in Antarctica are much easier than what I've done in the Arctic.
Like a summer breeze, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. ਨਹੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ. We wish you luck. We hope ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਚਾਂਸ ਮਿਲੇ ਨਾਰਥ ਪੋਲ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ, ਸੋਲੋ ਐਕਸਪੀਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਕਸੈਸਫੁਲ ਹੋਵੋ. I know this time around it wasn't to be, but ਚਲੋ hopefully next time ਹੋਵੇ. What do you think things like have to fall in place to get that done?
Funding. That the funding is one of the, yeah, it has to be funded, because you can't even, you know, you can't, it's not like you just can't get to the start without it. There's no, you know, you have to pay the plane. It is so expensive.
How can somebody help you?
I have a GoFundMe page, or if there's any billionaires out there that, you know, they can contact me. Even
millionaires can too.
Yeah. They can contact me at contact@polarpreet.com. You know, and if it's companies, of course, you know, the main sponsor can name the trip. I have their logo. I can take like a little flag with me all the way to the top of the world. So there's a lot of opportunities. I do a lot of speaking as well to kids and corporate speaking. So there's a lot of different opportunities there.
ਅੱਛਾ, ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ, I want to ask this too, like ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ community, as you are saying, you're like pushing the boundaries, breaking the boundaries, like breaking the ceilings and everything. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ community ਦੀਆਂ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ? Because a lot of time they will see this and they'll say it's not for them. Like, what's the message you want to deliver in there?
I want to say that you know, whatever it is, like that tiny voice in your head, or whatever this goal you have, you can do it, and break it down into the smallest thing in the world. When I'm on the ice, just sometimes I'm thinking left ski forward, right ski forward, and that is it. That is as far as I go, because it's too overwhelming. And I get that. I understand people look at what I'm doing and they're like, no way at all. And actually, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said the same. But I want to say that it opens up your world when you know, the purpose it gives you, the growth it gives you when you start to step outside your comfort zone. So just try it, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if you think that you're going to be terrible. It doesn't matter if you have self-doubt. I have those emotions all the time. They are natural emotions. It doesn't matter if you think you're going to fail. I often have that fear too. It's okay. All of those emotions.
How do you overcome?
You go anyway. So you go anyway. I say every time I do something, I always have the self-doubt. But also now I'm used to the feeling, because I've had that self-doubt before. So it's not as scary.
Well, that's great. Like for these so many days, like ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ like ਇੱਥੇ 40 days, ਉੱਥੇ 60 days ਦੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, there's so much silence. You are alone with your thoughts. I think physical de nalo, the mental challenge is more extreme.
Yes, in Antarctica, Hanji, yeah, the mental challenge is, and that's when all of your ghosts come to haunt you, you know, whether it's like the anger, the frustration, whatever. So it's hard to deal with. It's hard to be on your own, but it's also quite powerful to be on your own as well. We're alone with nature.
Okay, thank you, Harpreet. Thank you, Polarpreet.
Thank
ਤੁਸੀਂ
you.
ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ. Any last message, any motivational thing you want to tell us, to our listener, to our viewers?
Bas, like that you belong, you know, and not just to the Korea Mundo, like everybody,
Everyone,
like
yes.
you belong in every space, in every room, even the top and the bottom of the world.
Thank you. Badi meherbani.
Thank
Shukriya.
you very